All right, here we are back again. It is Hearthcenter week 6 of this 18th THL season, and we've got to break tradition a little bit tonight because unfortunately our Battlegrounds champions Lemurs were unavailable for an interview to celebrate their victory over this last weekend. Hopefully, we might be able to get them to join us on a future Tuesday. But for now, we will do our recap of the Battlegrounds and celebrate their victory, and possibly we'll have an interview section with them at a future date. But let's jump into Hearthcenter itself in the spirit of Nosstone that happened just last night. This is going to be a little bit of a quicker Hearthcenter. So we're going straight to introductions. Up to my top left, Dr. Fish. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing well. Glad to be here.
Glad to have you here. Next up, we got Desharmo in my top right. How's it going, Desharmo?
Going good. Just got my tattoo healing.
Nice. Best of luck with hopefully it doesn't cause you too much issues there.
It
Bottom
will.
right, we got Dr. Lotus Knight, as always, back on the cast. How you doing, Lotus?
A little bit tired, but things are fine. How are you, Ron?
Tired? I can't imagine why. Couldn't have anything to do with staying up real late last night casting an Ozstone tournament with me. I'm sure
I
it's,
know it's
it's a
fine.
totally unrelated thing.
Nah, I don't even know what you're doing.
Exactly. Well, I'm doing great, and I'm excited to bring you all the action that happened in Hearthstone THL wise last week. We're going to start off with our players of the week. Let's dive right into it. Up first, we've got Hero. Desharmo, I'm going to come to you first here for Hero here. Tell me, who was our Hero player of the week? You are muted, by the way, Desharmo. I can see you talking, but I can't hear you talking. Maybe we'll skip Desharmo for hero. Lotus, tell me, who is the hero
I'm
player of the
here.
week? Oh, hey, you're
I'm
back. All
sorry.
right.
Oh, go ahead. You want me to do it now?
Yeah, go for
Sorry, I don't have it up. So Lotus Knight, you do it.
it. Why would you? Okay, Lotus, go ahead. Hero player of the week.
Second, hero player of the week. Let me make sure I have the right one
I mean, I could just read
because
it. I already put it up
I have
there.
it too.
I'm going to
I
start
have it
off with
too.
Hero Player of the Week. All right, here we
Sure.
go. Kel is not to be underestimated this season as his toppling of great players continues with a 3-2 win over the Elven Archer of Master Store qualifiers. One shot, one kill, Mr. Nine Eyebrows. Every single point in the win was crucial, with the match result ending in a tie. Congratulations to Kel. Next up, we have our Legacy Player of the Week. Let's move on over to Dr. Fish. Fish, tell me, who was our Legacy Player of the Week?
Our legacy player of the week was none other than THL veteran Jim Philos. With only 3 weeks remaining of the legacy season, every point matters for the final playoff push. Jim Philos had an outstanding week for Hot Zills, snatching up that elusive first win in legacy for himself, as well as boosting his team up and giving them a close and well-fought 15 to 12 point win over a Noyo team, who they are in direct competition with racing into the playoffs. The weeks are edging closer to playoff time, and with this victory, Jim Philos has set himself up to finish strong and grab some much needed points in a tight playoff race.
Nice. Yeah. Can't have a better time to get that first victory for sure. Congrats to Jim. Next, let's move on to Wild. Desharma, you got it up. Who's the Wild Player of the Week?
Um, I'm sorry. I'm looking at the sheet here. I don't know which one is wild. Say. I'm looking at it. It doesn't say anything.
It's BOMD's right up.
We're
Okay,
gonna
I
skip
got Week
Desharma.
6. I
Okay,
got
you
it.
got it. You
Week
got it.
6 saw the clash of two titans pitting undefeated PCDS against crossover stats leader Mr. Python, both entering the week at 5-0. Only one of these players would leave with their perfect record intact. PCDS came out on top, putting up a 2-3 win to help lead Mancrick's Revenge to a 16-10 victory. The win earns PCDS Player of the Week honors and keeps the team undefeated as they look to lock down their playoff spot.
Nice. Big win, and staying undefeated in a series like that is really impressive. Moving on next, we have Pro. Oh, I spoiled it super quick. Maybe no one saw it. Lotus, go ahead, tell me who is our Pro player of the week?
Draco Cat had a rough start to the season, but last week he nabbed his first win by taking down veteran Obviously to a 5-game series and winning it 3-2, helping Hey Loser defeat NPH 14-12. This is their second win, and with is it the start of a comeback? It may be the start of a comeback. Let's see. Good luck to Draco Cat and Hey Loser, and Baze is saying to make it happen.
Nice. Yeah, Draco Cat, really cool streamer, by the way, too. Great personality to have in THL, and excited to see him winning Player of the Week there. And last up for Battlegrounds, our Battleground series just concluded, so it didn't even seem right to name a particular player for Player of the Week. So this Player of the Week goes to the champs, the Lemurs, taking down the victory. Basically the wire-to-wire leader, it seemed, in Battlegrounds. They actually were trailing, though, in the final week and really pulled it together and got that win. So big congratulations to Lemurs on winning the whole thing. And there you have it,
And
our players of the
to
week.
Bob's Bounty.
Yeah, Bob's Bounty Hunters came real close. Defending champs and almost got there, but Lemurs just too strong. All right, with that, let's hide these players of the week as we move on to a quick little recap of what happened just last night. Maniac Mondays and came back fast and furious. We were playing Nozstone. Things were going crazy. Players had barely any time to decide, and we had our first place winner, Heat Shock, Mr. Python coming in second place, and MMW and Based Inc. Tied for that third place spot. Congratulations to all players who participated, and extra big congratulations to Heat Shock on taking that down. Was a really fun experience to be a part of. If you didn't catch any of it, there's VODs. You don't even have to watch all of it. Skim through. It was crazy, and had a blast for sure.
This was
Any
one of the funniest streams I have ever participated in.
yeah, I just like everyone had to decide in 15 seconds. It was just madness, like things flying around left and right. But yeah, absolutely very much fun and excited to see what the next Maniac Mondays brings 2 weeks from uh, yesterday. As we move on next, though, we're doing our recap of the Hero series. Let's dive into this one. We've got no pros here
Nope.
up at the very top for uh, Hero Series, 18 points per week in the lead here, and Vote of Some Confidence just one step behind there. Dad Legend, oh so close to getting their logo, but still not quite there. And let's start with our recap of the first match, Vote of Some Confidence versus Dabs on him. As we mentioned, it's going to be a quick show, so go ahead, Lotus, tell me about this match.
Vote of Some Confidence had Bullion and Jim won. Baze won for Dabs because Baze is Baze, and I say this a lot, but it is true. This gives Votus and Confidence a huge margin, and now Votus and Confidence is grabbing the number 2 spot pretty firmly. Looking forward to see if they can keep this up.
Yeah, absolutely. Big win for Votus and Confidence. Dabs on him in a rough spot. Still a little bit of time. Moving on to the next one. Desharmo, talk to me about Dad Legend versus Blast.
Yeah, Dad Legend here picking up a much needed win over Blast, who was 4-1. Dad Legend now have the same record and thrusts them just above Blast, putting them in the third place position. Some big wins by Icicles, Corrodin, and Yellow Dart taking out the Saku there. I think that's a little bit of a mismatch, but everything else, Icicles and Corrodin picking up some big wins there. Lotus Knight and Skittles picking up wins on the other side. So yeah, very good win from Dad Legend. Looking to see that they continue their carnage and see if they can continue to push their way into the playoffs.
Yeah, if playoffs started today, they would be in it. So they just got to kind of hold serve here. Definitely a strong season from them so far, and for Blast as well. They're also sitting in a playoff spot. On to the next match here. It's the season of ties. I swear, it's crazy. Ask HS versus 1337 squad, and this is a full-on 14-14. Dr. Fish, talk to me about this.
All right, so for Ask HS, Neji Boston, Mr. Python, and Kel taking down wins. Molsar getting a sweep over BOMD, and Skirt Reynolds taking a 3-2 over Doubles. That Molsar sweep big in getting the tie for 1337 squad.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm kind of blown away to see 1-5 Turtle and 1-5 CMAC. Sometimes these things happen. We say it all the time. The quality of THL, the caliber of play is just so far up there right now that even absolute monsters of players like Turtle and CMAC can struggle sometimes. That's just how it goes. I mean, on the other side, they played Neji and Mr. Python. That's just brutal.
The heck is Mr. Python doing in 2?
Yeah, Neji's true PR is just massively high, so Mr. Python somehow still doesn't get to. Yeah, but it seems crazy. What a broken team, Ask HS right now, and they're not even like that high up there in playoff contention, but there's a lot of time that can change. Uh, that is it for the hero recap, except for the PPR section. Anything we want to say about the hero matches or standings before we move to PPR?
We got a few weeks left, so more weeks than some of the other series. So look for a lot of these teams to still have a chance to get into the playoff race.
Yeah, absolutely. Hero is a very lengthy series this season because there is just the one conference. So all these teams play each other. It's not hitting that, fast and furious race to the playoffs just yet, like we will be seeing in some of the other ones. Well said. All right, with that, let's move on to PPR. We've got our week 5 player. Well, that's week 6. I'll update that. But yeah, week 6 player power rankings for Hero Series. Starting off, number 1, Mr. Python at 6-0. Vino Spumoni coming in at number 2 at 5-1. Ufric at 4-1. Yellow Dart at 4-2. Your Mumked at 5-1. Ron Mexico at 4-1. Starlax at 3-3. Corridin at 4-2. Snake at 4-2. And Based Inc. bringing out that top 10 at 4-2. Our honorable mentions: Hockey Boys 4-2, Isocles 4-2, Lotus Knight 4-2, Agent PWE 4-2, and Disco 4-2. And all I gotta say is Starlax is bribing the hell out of Donde right now, sitting at number 7 at 3-3. Rigged.
He's getting a lot. He's getting a lot of points in his losses. They must all be 3-2s.
I know he's played some really strong players and has had some quality losses as well, but it's kind of funny to see.
It is, yeah.
That record there.
He has the same record as Hockey, and Hockey's in honorable mentions.
I mean, yeah, just there's 4-2s across the board here too.
It's for sure. Yeah.
Lotus, comments? I thought you had a comment. Okay.
I'm kind of surprised with the new player here, Venus Fumoni, and I want to see where he takes this.
Yeah, Venus Spumoni is doing really well. That's a hell of a debut season. So excited to see for sure how this season will continue to play out.
I'm a little disappointed in myself that I got bumped off this list because I lost to a scrub player last week.
You got completely scammed too. There was some Solarian Prime shenanigans that were going on.
That game was mine.
Prime cast Potion of Illusion, got another Prime, all that gross stuff.
The classic.
Yep. But hey, sometimes it happens. Poor Desharmo. Maybe just need to bribe Donde harder. I mean, you didn't have too many losses to keep you off the list. Starlax has 3 losses. You just had to pay Donde more. As we move on to...
I think I'm 4-2. I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know why you're not on there. Blame Donde. Spam rigged. But that is it for our hero recap as we move on to our next series, which will be just very quick as a recap. This is the championship. It was really close at the end. I mean, it became a two-team race, but it got really close between Lemurs and Bob's Bounty Hunters. And at one point, it was down to just Hoppa Bear hanging around at 1 health, and she made it all the way until top 3. But Mr. Incredible was just unstoppable there. And once Hoppa Bear got knocked out and Mr. Incredible was in the top 2, the series had been decided at that point. I think she had to get a victory to put Bob's Bounty Hunters on top after the way the first Sunday split went, because the A split on Friday put Bob's Bounty Hunters in the lead, and they were looking solid, but they didn't have quite enough, and Lemurs just, the team that everyone thought would win it all, they won it all. Unfortunately, we do not have the team themselves to interview tonight. Hopefully, we will get them on in the future. But congratulations once again to Lemurs, BV Bat, Lee, Mr. Incredible, and Jay Carrick. Just an insane team, incredible season. And fittingly, they take home the crown. Any comments on Battlegrounds or the season that was in BGs before we move on to our next series? Okay, I will take that as a no. Let's move on to the next one. So we've got Marty B's Stats Corner, but there's no Marty B tonight. So if you're interested in the stats, get your screenshots ready. Make sure you snap a quick little screenshot of this if you want to have a closer look at some of these archetypes. And Lotus, I know you were looking at some of this beforehand for what changed from week to week.
I think the note for Wild is what happened was the good decks got chosen more, and the bad decks are starting to dry out. So expect more Mage, Paladin, Priest, and Warlock. Don't expect as much Demon Hunter, Shaman. These non-tier 1 decks are just not staying for long.
Yeah. You're seeing a lot of tier 1s and 2s being brought out. And notably Waker Mage going down, Mozaki Mage will probably go up. That's pretty much all I really have to say about it.
Pretty fair. As Wild Series kind of starts hitting its stretch run, you see more of the memeier, less competitive type decks slowly get edged out, and the stronger decks, stick around and kind of solidify their presence. But that's what we're seeing here. Let's take a look at what happened last week in Wild. We've got our leaders at the top of the conference, F2L Viridian and Mancrick's Revenge. That is right, everyone's a winner for the first time since they've been a team, I think, is not in our top standings for Wild. They're almost there. They're just barely behind Mancrick's Revenge, but really exciting to see a little bit of movement at the top of the standings here in Wild. F2L Viridian just absolutely dominant right now, and Mancrick's Revenge still on a tear. Undefeated. They've only won 4 out of the 6 games, but they are undefeated, and that's certainly something. So let's start off. Dr. Fish, talk to me about the first match here between Everyone's a Winner and No Fin Can Stop Us. What a win for this team.
Yeah.
Everyone's a Winner is seemingly invincible, only lost to F2L, but here's another loss.
Yeah, so No Fin Can Stop Us taking a 15-10 win with No AH, Quake Lord, and Super Sub Tiger Eye. Tiger Eye subbing in this is absolutely nutty. Getting a 3-0 sweep over 6J, Quake Lord sweeping Hazer, and No Way handing Battle Tagger his first loss of the season, but Sunday and Absolute picking up wins, getting points for Everyone's a Winner.
Yep, there you go. And like we're seeing in the chat, Rice Bowl saying this is High Wild Legend versus High Wild Legend. Yeah, absolutely.
I'm sure there was a lot of high rolls. There's a lot of mirror classes. So.
All right, with that, let's move on to the next match. We've got F2L Viridian versus Crab Riders. And Fish, we'll stick with you for the wild section here since you play a little bit more wild than the rest of our hosts here tonight. Talk to me about this one.
So a big dominant win for F12 Viridian here. 4 players winning, Corbett and Get Me Out staying at undefeated. Marty B and Neji holding it down in the lower ends, and Rotted Zombie taking a loss to Casual R. But overall, just F12 Viridian's pulling away. They're 17 points ahead, and there's no buys in Wild, so they're pretty far ahead, 20 points a week.
Yeah, that's pretty huge. I mean, this team is, yeah, just insane. Completely insane. I mean, there is a Neji is their 5 seed. They've got Marty on this
Yeah.
team. They've got Rotted Zombie, and then
And
Corvette and
not
Get Me Out the top 2 is like just it seems illegal, but
I'm
there they are,
gonna
top of the standings, winning every
yeah.
game. What more can
Yeah.
you say about him?
I think Rotted's in the 5 now, but nope, he's not. Never mind. I'm wrong. It's the same.
All right, but moving on to our final highlighted match of this last week, and season of ties. We got another one. It is the Pog Merchants versus Mad Scientists, and that's a 14-14. Run me through this one again here, Fish.
All right, so Number Theory and Pace had a really good match on stream. Number Theory just edging it out in a reverse sweep over Pace's Pirate Warrior, Awful Artist, 3-2 win over Betronam, taking a 3-2 loss to Catharsis. Lasagna and Kenray went 3-2 to Kenray, but Maxi Bon again pulled out that clutch sweep. I believe he was the last match played, so clutch sweep gets a tie for the Pog Merchants.
Yeah, one thing I want to say about this though, with this tie, is you're looking at the standings here. The Pog Merchants are just right there in like at the bottom of the playoffs rank, and this might come back to bite them. I think they really needed a win here versus Mad Scientists, who are pretty much like out of it.
Yeah, DeSharmo hates ties. I love how you like
I
comment
mean,
on all the ties. You're like, oh, this might come
I mean,
back to bite
seeing,
them. Like they need
I
the
mean,
win. Stop tying, get wins. I agree with you, bud.
I think, I think getting 14 points when you were down 4 points going into the last match is pretty good.
I mean, sure,
But
you'll
yeah,
take it, but
obviously, yeah.
every team wants that extra couple of points because when you get to tight playoff races at the end, I mean, Diamond is the captain of Pog Merchants, and he knows
He knows.
firsthand just how close playoff races can be. I know he's missed
Yeah.
a playoff berth on a tiebreaker before. So
Yeah.
even a single point one way or the other could have changed it in previous seasons.
Makes sense.
So yeah, these players and teams are definitely well aware of that. But that is it for our highlight matches and what we are looking at from Wild as of last week. Any other things to say about Wild before we move on to PPR for Wild?
Nah, I think we're good.
All right, awesome. So let's get this one up on the screen here. And, oh, whoops. We've got week 5. Yeah, I didn't update those. Week 6 player power rankings for Wild. There we go. And let's start it off. It looks less rigged than the other ones. PCDS leading off, number 1, 6-0. Get Me Out, also 6-0. Corbett, also 6-0. Battle Tagger right behind in the 4th spot at 5-1, followed by some 5-1 players. Memnarch at 5-1. Mr. Python, 5-1. We've got in the number 7 spot, Slot at 4-2, No Way right behind at 4-2, Absolute at 4-2, and Sunday, yeah, get that rigged spam ready, Sunday, because I don't know what's happening here. Sorry, you're 5-1, but hey, at least you're top 10. That rounds out the top 10 there. In our honorable mentions, we move on to Pace at 4-2, The Rotted Zombie at 4-2, Neji Boston 4-2, Quake Lord 3-3, and An Awful Artist at 4-2. Congratulations to all of our player power rankings Wild Series players for Week 6. If you're not on the list, blame Donde. If you are on the list, bribe Donde more to be higher. And any other things that we want to say about Wild before actually we'll do a rapid fire commercial like we always do, but then we are going to move on over
Sure.
to Legacy.
I mean, when your team has 2 of the top 3 PPR players, your team should be doing pretty good.
Yeah,
And we're seeing that.
that's a fair point. I think that makes a whole lot of sense. Okay, so let's head on back over to the caster screen. And as always, we've got a little promotion element of our stream here. Um, we as always we need your support, THL. Help us keep this show going and keep it great. Let's dive into commercial. Hey there, Twitch viewers. If you've subscribed to Team Hearth Legends yet, know then make today to be a legend yourself and subscribe to our channel. This subscription enables the THL team to help cover the various costs of operating our website as well as improve the quality of our streams and content to our viewers. If you have Amazon Prime or Twitch Prime, you can actually subscribe to this channel for free. Subscribers will go to THL emoticon as well as the lovely THL chat badge. So hit that heart button and keep the notifications on. Make sure you catch our team broadcasting live. We appreciate each and every one of you. Special note to our viewers, check out THL's other social media points of interest, our website, teamhearthlegends.com. Follow us on Twitter at THL_HS. Join us on Discord at Team Hearth Legends. Check out the THL PAL podcast for power rankings for all series wherever you find your podcast. The true Hearth Legends himself, Saku, continues to post all of our videos on our YouTube channel. Just search Team Hearth Legends to catch everything previously recorded. You're, of course, watching us on our Twitch channel, twitch.tv/Team Hearth Legends, or possibly on our YouTube channel in the future. And for you THL fanatics out there, there are THL shows every single day of the week. You can't go wrong tuning in at any time for some amazing Hearthstone-related content. Now back to the good part. And the good part being Legacy Series. Let's get into Legacy Last Weekend Gold. Get it up on the screen. And we have
1 second
Hot
before
Zilfs.
that.
What's that?
Should we talk about Pride Month before that?
Oh, yeah, I don't have a graphic for it, but we can go back to the caster screen.
Yeah, I just want to.
Go ahead,
I mean,
Lotus.
Deshaun was probably the best one to talk about this, but just a reminder that at this moment, Michael posted in the Discord for more information, but THL was hoping to support the Trevor Project. So any subs and donations will be going towards the Trevor Project. And for more information, you can check the post Mako said. He talked a lot about it on the show yesterday, so you can check that out as well.
Yeah, we're doing a couple tournaments, to support Trevor Project, as well as the THL has a limited time merch available that all those proceeds will also go to the Trevor.
Absolutely. Thank you for pausing there. I was going a little too fast for my own good, and definitely a really important segment of what THL is doing right now to point out. Excited for Pride Month and all we're doing there, and please, anything that you can spare to donate to help us support the Trevor Project and support the rest of our community members is greatly appreciated.
Yeah, and when you donate, an alert will pop up on stream, unlike we have done before. So
Yeah, true.
donate,
We got to test
give
that
us a
out.
50 bucks.
Donde did that on Nas last night, and we saw it. All right. Any other quick comments on THL Pride Month before, or THL's involvement in Pride Month before we move on to our legacy recap?
If anything, you should donate because Ron has a sick head of hair.
Any reason is good. Honestly, it's a good cause. With that, though, let's dive into Legacy. So back onto this one here, and we have Hot Zilfs and Defias Brotherhood are our top teams in Legacy Gold Conference. We are, of course, going by points per week. And oh, do you even Tonk? You were so close. You lost on not the points tiebreaker and not the points per week tiebreaker or the record tiebreaker, but strength of schedule was 0.55 or 6.5. Math is hard. Whatever that is. 6.5? Yeah, 6.5.
Yes.
0.65 off. And just, close. But Defias Brotherhood having a very strong season. The Hot Zilfs having an insane season so far. And who even needs to mention the teams leading in points anyway? Um, but let's talk about our highlighted matches from the week. We've got Hot Zilfs taking a 15-12 over a Noyo team. This one was pretty close. Desharma, let's start with you here. Talk to me about this one.
Yeah, let's talk about the score here. I think a Noyo team, we only have 2 weeks left in Legacy, or 3 weeks left in Legacy. Some teams only have 2 because of buys. But this is really, I think Noyo team is one of those teams that still needs a buy. They really need to push out here if they're looking to get the playoffs. I know they're at top of the standings here, but their PPW is not very high. So this is a win they needed. But Hot Zilfs, being the hot team themselves, came out with a big win. Jammy's having a great season, 5-0, kind of sort of carrying the team, and a Noyo team getting 2 wins from subs, needing those wins, and they got them. But unfortunately, the other players are struggling a little bit, and Jim Phillips picking up his first win as well. So Hot Zilf's really in a great position right now, and looking to tie up their playoff chances here with the next week or two.
Yeah, absolutely. Crucial match here, and there's still time, of course. A Noyo team they certainly have the points. The points per week is a little bit lacking. So when that bye hits, it could be rough for them, but we will see. Hot Zilf's in commanding position. On to the next recap here. We've got Do You Even Tonk versus Disturbs. And Lotus Knight, talk to me about this one. Another really close match.
It was a really close match. The Stubbs team that will always have a fond space in my heart for the time I played with them. Tried their best, but Tonk kept tonking with Turtle finally getting a win. Uranium and Roofski continuing their strong performance and surviving with a 15-13 score.
I gotta ask, is Do You Even Tonk a question that this team is posing to themselves? Because I don't even see a single hunter in all of their lineups. No hunter. That means there can't possibly be a Tonk, and that's just kind of sad. I mean,
Also, who's playing?
I guess if you're playing against a paladin and you play a 1 mana spell, it could become Carrion Studies and then get a Tonk. What?
Mhm.
Geranium Battle won with a Tonk? Oh my god. Okay. Okay, my bad. My bad. I gotta watch the stream. Okay. That's amazing, by the way.
Yeah, we take that
I
every
don't
time.
even know how he won with a Tonk in a class that can't. Some shenanigans clearly happened. Maybe it was Mage.
Yeah,
No,
probably it's
no, it was
evolving.
Geranium. Geranium wasn't the one bringing Mage. Okay,
Yeah,
I don't even
yeah.
know.
Gambler brought Mage, so devolving
Ah,
potentially.
makes sense. All right, well, moving on to Legacy Red now, unless we have anything else to say about Legacy Gold. Okay, awesome. Legacy Red, let's get it up on the screen. Oh no, Dad
You
Legend
can't do
finally
it
made it.
anymore.
Damn
You
it.
Dad
can't do it
Legend
to us
made it.
anymore.
Damn it, I
Oh,
can't
Can't
grief Dad
you
Legend
you
anymore.
can't grief us anymore, Ron.
let's go. Dad
Well, it
And
was a
Legend
you
on
good
featured
run.
top.
a match of ours too.
It was a
Jeez.
good run. All right, fine. Dad Legend just had a dominant victory here to finally get their logo up on the screen. Flame Pimps, of course, still just absolutely killing it in Red Conference as well. And these two top teams are our featured matches. But as such, let's just mention the others real quick. F2L White, Standard THL Degenerates, Illidan's Death Knights, and Bankyuki Fan Club are the closest in contention behind those for playoffs right now.
Yeah.
The other teams definitely with a very, very tough climb to try to fight their way in. And Dad Legend, I don't know, they might have been eliminating Pod People's chances here with this kind of victory. So, Desharmo, talk to me about the match. 18-6, big win.
Yeah, Dad Legend really put forth some effort this week. We can kind of thank Blue Spartan. He's a big part of why our 5 seed started off really providing us some stats each week and talking about us. So he's a big reason why we are where we're at now. And then our mom kid still dominating in the 2. And even though Blue Spartan lost in the 4, we all got his back. I like seeing Wicked Good picking up the win there in the 4 seed for Pod People. And unfortunately for Pod People, I think you might be right that they are almost out of contention here, barring some sort of miracle here towards the end.
Yeah, huge win too. I have to add for your Mumkhead. That actually gave Zeroshio his
Yeah.
first loss on the season.
And Zeroshio is one of my favorite players in THL. He doesn't really talk very much, and he's been in. I looked at the stats. He's the second longest person right now
Yeah,
playing in the THL.
great
Mhm.
guy, been around THL for seemingly forever.
Definitely, yeah, he's been
But
around.
it was all Dad Legend this week, and it paid off to the tune of logos finally there. We'll see if we can keep it in the next week. As we move on to the next match here, Flame Pimps versus F2L White. And normally I go to Marty as our F2L correspondent, but you know what, Fish? You're involved in a little bit of things fish to lake. Talk to me about Flame Pimps versus F2L White here. The Pimps took it down pretty well.
Yeah, they definitely did. We got a win for Taco Cat, Icer, Goose, and Boolean. So 3 out of the 4 matches. F2L White putting up 11 points while losing 4 matches is pretty good. We see 3 of those went 3-2, and it's Slod coming out with a sweep. So F2L still getting points. We'll see where they land after the bye. But congrats to Flame Pimps on a nice win this week.
Yeah, just carrying the whole red conference right now, I guess, as far
Yeah.
as point totals go. Nobody tops Flame Pimps right now in points per
Yeah,
week,
and they've
and
and they've had their bye.
Yeah.
they did this last season too. So just a really strong team running it back. I gotta mention that F2L White has one of the weirdest records I've seen in quite some time for a team that is hanging out in third place in points. I mean, their points per week is a bit lower. They haven't had their bye
Yeah,
yet, but 1-3-2 is
Yeah, this
real
week is their
weird.
bye.
yeah. They'll definitely be much
Yeah.
lower than third next
Well,
week, very likely. But
we got 3 weeks left, and I think this conference we got the top 4 teams kind of sitting on their spots there, with that weird letter team sort of picking at that 4
yeah,
spot, and then the rest of the
MPH
teams.
Legacy.
I think Fish, Dirty Mike and Pod People are almost out of contention. They still, I mean, obviously there's mathematically still in it, and F2L I still think has a chance, but
Yeah.
slowly dwindling out, especially with his loss here.
Yeah.
So here in this next week to sort of solidify their playoff spots, and maybe see some of those other 2 teams, the weird letter team and F2L, maybe possibly push for a 4 spot.
That's right. Playoff race heating up. Going to be exciting to watch as we get towards the very end of the season. With that, though, let's move on to PPR for Legacy. It's time to spam rigged again as, oh man, I'm going to do this for each one. Week 5. It's not week 5, it's week 6. And
I
we
did not
have
know that.
we have our number 1 player, my teammate, by the way, Kota Mora. He takes 3-2 wins in like every single week, but my man gets it done, 6-0. In the number 2 spot, we've got undefeated Icer at 5-0, Slod at 5-1 in the number 3, Nice Jewish Owl right behind at 4-1, T Stew undefeated, no love though, still at number 5, 5-0, Jammies also getting scammed, 5-0 in the number 6 spot. We've got Agent PWE at 4-1, Blue Spartan at 4-2, Roofski at 4-1, and to round out our top 10, it is Wild 9 at 4-1. Moving on past that, we have our honorable mentions. Bay Stink at 4-1, Dead Snoop 123 at 4-1, 12341. Interesting. Geranium Battle 4-1, Honest Zabe 4-2, and Quaz rounding out that honorable mention spot at 4-1 as well. As always, congratulations to these players. Blame Donde if you're not on the list. Blame Donde if you're not higher on the list. Always blame Donde. It's the
Just
way to
blame
go.
Donde, period.
I mean, I
Because
just wake
Donde
up in the morning and blame Donde.
got a crick in your neck, blame Donde.
Donde!
Didn't get your paycheck on time, blame Donde.
Exactly. But honestly, really well earned from all these players. Incredible seasons so far to see everyone who's on this list. And that is it for our Legacy Power Rankings. Any other things to say about the Legacy series before we move on to our final series to recap this week in Pro? Sweet. Pro it is. So let's head on over to Marty B's stats corner again, real quick. As mentioned, Marty B is not with us tonight, so we don't have a breakdown of the archetypes extensively. Lotus, you mentioned you had a little bit of a comparison of the changes week to week.
Much for pro as I had done it for wild, but I think the main note I would do for pro is just to say that the data has basically consolidated a lot more. Archetypes are appearing though that weren't there before. We now have Death Rattle Demon Hunter with some representative, and other decks like just Weapon Rogue grew a lot, and Control Warriors now with a good presence.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As I've heard over and over from Nice to Your Shower, Control Warrior OP. So we'll see if that starts showing up a little bit more. But yeah, some
Yeah.
interesting changes in the meta.
N'Zoth decks popping up here and there. Expect some of them to get more popular. I'd say maybe N'Zoth Shaman to more go away. Just gonna see some like N'Zoth possible jank, I guess, as some people call it.
That's
But
right. N'Zoth got buffed. He costs 9 now. Let's jam him and everything. Let's go.
sure, we'll see what happens.
1 mana is good as
It's true.
a change.
Yeah.
All right, and let's move on to our recap of the last week in Black. And oh my God, what is that logo? What is that logo there in the top right? Brushy
Brushy
tuna?
tuna.
Brushy
No
tuna.
way. You gotta
No
be
thanks
kidding
to
me.
me.
Let's go. Man.
So I can scarcely believe it, but our 2 leaders, Hype Horizon and Brushy Tuna, now at the very top in points per week for Black Conference. And followed behind, we have our other competitors as far as points per week goes, is Mancrick's Multiple Wives and Group Process, Faction, F2L Scarlet would be, and Para Los Chicos would be our main contenders for playoffs right now as this race continues to heat up. The other teams closer to the bottom have a very tough road ahead of them if they are going to make it.
Yeah.
But let us move on to covering the first highlighted match in group process versus Mancrick's Multiple Wives. Very, very close one. Desharmo, talk to me about this one.
Yeah, a close match. Both of these teams, I believe, at the beginning of the season started really strong, and we can kind of see that Matt Cribb's Wives is not doing too bad, but they're starting to struggle a little bit in group process, picking up some ties and some losses. I remember at the beginning of the season we are talking about Bully and how good he was. I think he was 3-0, and now picking up a loss here. I think in this case, these two teams are sort of in a position where they need to be fighting for that 4 spot. I mean, we got 10 people in this conference, but only 4 people make that top 4. I mean, yeah, duh. But 4 people make the top spot there. And one of these, I think, believe it is Group Process and Faction are tied for 5th. So 4th, I mean. So this really important win here for Mancrick's Multiple Wives to sort of thrust them into that playoff position, because we are entering that time now where we start talking about playoffs. And Lefty going wild. Going wild, 4-1. This team at the beginning of the season, I believe, was at the bottom of everybody's playoff rankings or PPRs, and they are still showing, hey, we're still here. Don't forget about us.
Yeah,
And
Lefty's killing it. It's been impressive.
Yeah.
And
And
really is.
and Lefty, I believe, plays in the 5 seed in one game. He's pulling a bit of a Brushy tuna. Speaking of who, so I don't think Group Process is out of it, but they are sort of inching in the wrong direction. Mancrips is inching the other direction. So I'm looking to see how the playoff battle goes for the 4 spot in the Black Conference.
For sure.
Mhm.
And yeah, this is the season of ties in this week in our highlighted matches. We're just narrowly dodging them with 2 1-point games here. Dr. Feesh, talk to me about Faction versus F2L Scarlet. Another 1-point difference, 13-14. Both of these teams can't be too upset. I mean, Faction can't be too upset
No.
with the loss. F2L's got to be thrilled with this victory here.
Oh yeah, and F2L Scarlet started off a bit rockier than past F2L iterations. This team not too much different from the F2L we saw last season. Ariana 20, we see a lot of the same classes. F2L it has kind of become synonymous with bringing similar lineups. We have Ariana 20, Snake, Rabobson, Berserk, and Q. are the top 3 getting wins. Berserk getting swept by Sub Mojo Powell, representing one of my legacy teams, actually playing in pro and getting a sweep over an insane player like Berserk. Unlimited Power getting the win over QSNS, but yeah, just F2L coming back with a good week here. Still looking to be in it. Kind of in that middle of the pack chunk.
Yeah, really impressive victories. Ariana, 20, and Snake especially, because Harash and
Mhm.
Fogi are just absolute monsters
They are, yeah.
in Hearthstone. These are two unbelievably strong players, and I kind of feel like they're going to win every match that they play. Like when I just see them playing, it like kind of automatically. So, oh yeah, they just win because that's who they are. But
Well,
Mhm.
you know, every series is stacked.
yeah, and I think what you're looking at here, and just in terms of THL, you see a lot of ties. I think that's indicative of how even the playing field is with a lot of these players. And you look at the scores here, the records in the Black Conference. Everybody has a loss, and there's only one team with one loss, and that's Hype Horizon,
Yeah,
who's in
Yeah.
the lead right now.
who is of course,
Everybody else
yeah,
has two or
number one.
more.
They're insane, yeah.
There's only one team that I think we can all argue that has no chance. Is that, well, there's a chance, but it's pretty small at that point because they haven't had their bye week yet. But all the other teams could still make it, realistically speaking.
Yeah.
Yeah. Unfortunately, Swagoi with 10 points per week at the very bottom has a near impossible road to playoffs at this point. And unfortunately, they're a really good team, full of strong players, but strong-headed players who kept wanting to bring Shaman, and just, I mean,
Yep.
no further proof needed that Shaman just really needs some help because Swagoi loved Shaman too much, and I think that's the biggest factor that shows in their record and their points.
And another team, I mean, I know Para Los Chicos is the play on for the boys who won a championship. I believe it was last season. Yeah, just I know it's a completely different team, but they're also in that sort of in a position down there with Oim and Swagoy.
Yeah. But that is it for Black Conference as we move on to our final conference to talk about. And for the second straight week, there is no Popeye Spicy Chicken Sandwiches logo there. It is Washed Tappers, the most incredible logo, Shed Ape
Yeah.
there. And
Yes, I love it.
and we've got Sheepies now in the number 2 spot. I think
Hmm.
Sheepies was number 1 last week, so the Wash Tappers are on an absolute tear right now, and they beat up on everyone's favorite team to hate in Aeon. When we look at the rest of the standings, though, before diving into this recap, Wash Tappers and Sheepies obviously at the very top, and there's a big gap. The next closest is Clownstone, team that made the Final Four last season, I
Mhm.
believe, and then of course it's Popeyes in that 4 spot. The rest of the field trying to make it in is pretty jam packed together, and then Infinite Value kind of struggling with the same thing as Swagoi there with 10 points per week. It seems close to impossible to make it, but you can't rule it out yet. There's still enough games.
Yeah, this conference is looking more like not like the Black Conference. You can kind of tell who the top four are. Maybe that fourth Popeye spicy chicken sandwich, kind of, sort of in that four spot, but they could still fall out of a contention here. I think when we go to playoffs and we are fighting for, these cross conference matches, Black is going to really hit it hard here, having to face some of these 2 and 3 seed pink conference teams who are just ridiculous.
Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure. But with that, let's move on to our recap of the matches here. And I'm going to start off with Lotus Knight. Talk to me about Wash Tappers versus Aeon here. Kind of a blowout.
That was a great example of a blowout match. Donkey was the only win for Aeon, but Wash Tappers, Eminboyu, Valdos, Heatshock, and CMAC just washed Aeon out. This is not Aeon's season, and it certainly shows right now. They're basically left in a really bad spot, and they cannot afford to lose any more games if they want to make playoffs.
Yeah, pretty much.
Mhm.
And, Wash Tappers just on an absolute tear right now. So they are the team to beat, maybe in all of Pro right now, because their points per week are, I think, 2 higher than our leader in black in Hype Horizon. So Wash Tappers is just absolutely dominating. Sheepies also would be the #1 team in Black Conference right now. So these top two are just nutty.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I do want to point out. I mean, I don't want to take anything away from what Watch Tappers is doing, but their AOS is the weakest out of everybody in the Pink Conference. So
That is true.
I think
Sure. Yeah. They'll have tough matches on the back half.
So we'll see
Once
if they can keep
so
that momentum. But certainly everything is coming up in their favor heading into that tougher stretch of the schedule. And with our last highlighted match, let's talk about F2L Crimson versus Infinite Value. And Desharmo, talk to me about this one here. Infinite Value, we were mentioning just a moment ago that they are almost all but out of the playoff race,
Mhm.
but this is pretty big. If they have any shot, it starts here, right? 13-11. That's a pretty solid victory.
yeah, they have a chance, but I'm going to say they probably don't have a chance. I mean, they're at 10 PPW even after this win is still
Rude.
really low
Mean
down
and
there.
rude.
I'm just being a realist. I, and 13 points on a win is not amazing. I mean, it's good, but when you're down at 10 points with your PPW, you really need a win here. But speaking of the matches, Clone picking up a 3-2 over Corbett, really good player. Clone also just kind of showing his strength there. And Itachi 3-0 over Racy, and Racy is struggling big this season. Maybe I kind of watched him streaming a little bit. I think he streams other games right now. Maybe just not into it this season. But Racy is a pro player, having won pro tournaments before. So no scratch on Itachi though for picking up that 3-0 win. And then Dervis coming back this season and just struggling a little bit himself. I think maybe F2L might be just sort of throwing in the towel here. They're really sort of out of it, just like Infinite Value, and sort of just going through the motions, I think.
Yeah, we
And
talked at the start of the season too about F2L's decision to split into two different teams for pro and how it could have damaged their chances by kind of splitting up their talent. And that might be a little bit
Yep.
of what we're seeing here. Maybe it's, another reason, but in either
Yeah.
case, it's going to be a really tough proposition for them to make playoffs, same as Infinite Value right here.
It's
But
kind of hard to
congrats
say
to
that though,
Infinite for
because
still getting that victory.
sorry, it's just kind of hard to say that. I mean, look at the players on each of the teams. Like you wouldn't think that, but
Yeah, right. Like they're really strong
Yeah.
players and strong teams. Dervis maybe just
Exactly.
feeling a little bit rusty. Who knows?
Probably. I could see that.
But with that, that does
find a
wrap
team
up
next season.
our recap of
Mhm.
the Pro Series as well. Let's move on over to PPR to spam our rigged emotes one last time and curse Donde's name as we jump into, week 6. Week 6 player power rankings for the Pro Series. We're going to start off our #1 undefeated, Why the Hunter, followed by Liquidox, also undefeated at #2 at 5-0. McBanterface, 5-0 at #3. MMW, also 5-0 at #4. We've got Lotus Knight in the top 5 here, 4-1. Wet Goose at 4-2. Azonix 4-1, Neji Boston 4-1, Based Inc 4-1, and rounding out that top 10, seeing this name quite a bit, it's Mr. Python at 4-2. Moving on to our honorable mentions, we have Ufric at 4-1, Agent PW at 4-2, Goose at 4-2, Pocket Train at 4-1, and Wild9 at 4-1. And there you have it. Those are your
Yeah.
Week 6 Pro Series player power rankings.
hmm
Thoughts on this,
Not
guys?
not
I
as
just
rigged
wanna
as the other ones.
I just want to point out
This is looking
that
solid.
you're looking at Based Inc. and sorry, I'm having a brain fire. Based Inc. and Mr. Python both on this list, both on the top 2 of the crossover player right now, but Mr. Python in a whopping lead
Mhm.
over Based Inc.
Yeah, Mr. Python has just been completely insane in every series and kind of just dominating the crossover race. So,
Yeah.
if anyone has a shot, maybe right now it's Based, so it could get to be a tight race later. But I don't know if Mr. Python just keeps doing his thing and doesn't slip up. He's got it on lock.
Yeah, I think so.
All right. Any final words on Pro Series before we do our final wrap up for the night?
I think
Okay.
we good.
Sounds good. Let's get on back over to the caster screen. So as we promised, guys, um, it was a Nas mode type Hearth Center this week. We're coming in at under an hour for the show. Did this show a little bit rapid fire for you this week, and let's just move on to our final words from our guests. Starting with you in the top left, Dr. Fish, take it away. Final words on the night.
All right. If you want to, I don't believe we have a guest on Tavern Talk this week. So if you want to guest host tomorrow night, just shoot me a DM and we can get you all set up for it. Otherwise, don't really have any other words. Thank you for doing this, Ron. We appreciate you a lot.
Thanks, buddy. Next up, DeSharmo, final words on the night.
Yeah. Speaking of thanks, Ron. I'd like to for the amazing Maniac Monday stream that you guys did yesterday. The views were insane, and I definitely equate that to your guys' ability to provide quality content. And Dr. Lotus Knight, really having to push it hard. And me pestering you guys each night for updates so I can get you guys to next matches. So thank you guys for the amazing job for Maniac Mondays. We will not be doing any Maniac Mondays in June because we want to focus on the THL Pride tournaments. I think we might be doing one more Maniac Mondays before the actual season is over, probably in July. So we'll get back to you on that one after the Pride tournaments.
Oh, awesome. Okay. So, as
Gotcha.
always, make sure you just keep your eyes peeled to the THL Discord, and the announcements is where you get all the most up-to-date information regarding that. Thank you to Sharmo. Next up, Dr. Lotus Knight, what you got for us? Final words on the night.
Hey, if you would like to be on stream this weekend, Schoolstone is still looking for matches. You can DM me. Would love to have any match. Everyone is welcome. Both for standard on Sunday and wild on Saturday. The other shows are still looking for matches as well. So you can DM Fish if you want nighttime matches, or you can DM Saku. If you don't know who to DM, just DM one of us. We'll direct you to the right person, or we'll help you anyways. Happy to do that. The other thing I want to say is I just want to thank everyone who tuned in yesterday. I had a lot of fun in the tourney, and I want to thank everyone who tuned in today as well. It's just fun to do this with everyone.
Oh yeah, the Nas thing was a blast, and I love the Lotus Classic final words of Schoolstone is looking for matches. It's my favorite. It keeps me going every Tuesday. I love to hear it. Thank you guys, everyone, for tuning in. We hope you had a great week. We hope you have a great rest of your week. We love you, and we will see you all next time. Have a great night, everyone.
See everybody.
Go, go, go. Less than an hour.